Hey guys, it's Andrew Esquivel here, back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Honeywell HHT-090 Permanent HEPA Tower Air Filter. Now, HEPA standards state that a HEPA filter should filter at least 99% of unwanted airborne particles, and it might actually even be more stringent than that. The problem with permanent HEPA filters is that you have to make a compromise. Now, if we open up the back here, you'll see we've got a pre-filter and there are two permanent HEPA filters. Unfortunately, as a unit, it only filters about 95% of airborne particles. And that can be significant for a number of people because those last 5% are the really tiny things that get through the filter. And a real HEPA filter would get those. So some people who have severe allergies or really need the super clean air with no compromises, this is probably not going to do it for you, because particles are measured on a scale using the units called microns, and these filters just don't filter down to real HEPA standards. And there's a video that I'm going to link in the description and in an annotation. I want you to check it out. The guy talks about HEPA filters in vacuum cleaners, and it's a really good explanation about how a HEPA filter should work. And the guy's going to explain it a lot better than I can. And I'm just going to go over the gist of it. But in this case, let's look at the pre-filter real quick. So this is the back. It's basically just a piece of foam, and if you look on the other side, you'll see that, yeah, it does collect dust particles, and okay, that's great, and also the room's not as dusty, but what about, you know, allergens and that kind of stuff? And, you know, it's supposed to filter out mold and mildew kind of particles and spores and stuff. You know, that's what a HEPA filter does, and, well, let's take it out. You just pop it out, and on the front here, we've got kind of like a plasticky kind of shield, and on the back it's just basically kind of paper. So, let me give you a quick little explanation, the best I can put it, as to why this doesn't work as good as it should. Once again, look at the guy's video. He does a way better job explaining it. This is a half-piece face mask for doing things like painting and whatnot. With spray paint, you know, it filters airborne particles, aerosols, things like that. You'll notice the wad of paper in there. It's nicely folded and it's really packed tightly together. You know, I use this half-piece face mask for like cleaning, whatnot, because some chemicals are really strong. I'm really sensitive to chemicals, and when you're in an enclosed space that doesn't have good ventilation, it's hard to breathe. But I could be cleaning with harsh chemicals and wear this, and the filters do a really good job, and I can breathe properly without choking. Now, if I were to do the same thing, and I've actually tried this out, and put this filter in the room to try and filter the room for more than, I believe it was 48 hours I had this on high, it didn't do a darn thing. It simply couldn't trap the particles the way a real filter could. Now, granted, this is just, you know, these are just like kind of paper-based filters. The filters in this have more than just the paper. I'm pretty sure there's activated charcoal in there as well. This is a NIOSH approved filter. It's meant to handle much more harsh airborne activity than this does. But regardless, I've had this for a few months now, and although it traps 95% of all the whatever is in my air, it just doesn't do as well as I thought it would. I thought the 95% would be better than nothing, but it's just not enough in my opinion. That's one issue, and I'm going to go over why this does not work as good as it should. Before I turn it on, I want to talk about something. So, in the annotation, or the link in the description, whichever you choose to click on, the guy talks about HEPA filters inside of a vacuum cleaner. And that's an excellent example of how a HEPA filter should be used, well, at least I think. Now, a HEPA filter creates air resistance. Air's got to go through the back, being pulled by a fan out the front. Now, the air resistance makes it hard for air to get through the filter. Well, what ends up happening with this is a lot more air comes out the front than is going in through the back, which means it's just pushing residual air from in front or inside the unit out the front of the unit rather than sucking it in through the back. Now, the fans in here are not like what you would see on the fans on my computer case, for example. They're not just spinning around like that. Instead, if I take this lint roller, for example, and this is kind of a crappy example, it sticks up like this and it spins like that. And there's fins that will go around with it, and that is a particular design that I've seen been used in things like graphics cards, for instance, on a computer. Kind of off subject, but it's a certain fan design that's made to create suction and, you know, make a vacuum to force air through the filters. Now, it's not doing a good job at that. I don't think there's some seals in there that are tight enough, or maybe the design is just too loose, or just not well thought out enough, because there's barely any air coming in through the back than it is coming out through the front. Now, I understand that through the back you've got a much wider opening, so it's not going to feel like as if as much is coming in through the back as it should, because in the front you're kind of condensing it in a smaller exit hole, so yeah, you'd be able to feel it a lot easier. The displacement is different. So okay, with that being said, I can still tell that it's just not creating the suction needed to do its job. And, you know, along with that comes another few issues. If we turn it on, it's not very quiet. So I'm going to put it on, and the first button turns it on medium. Okay, so that's medium. This is low. And this is high. Now I'm going to turn it on low for a second. If you put on the ionizer, and this has a built-in ionizer, and no, it doesn't work like your Ionic Breeze or any ionized filter. Basically, all the ionizer does is it tries to make the air smell a little better. The ionizer, if you're in a really quiet room, you can actually hear like zapping noises from the ionizer, and it kind of gets annoying if you're able to hear that crap. And you know, for me it's not so bad when I'm sleeping, because I'm a night shift guy, so it kind of acts like a white noise machine in the sense that it drowns out all the noise from the cars, the train, and people in the house or outside. So that's nice for me, but for everyone else, or when I'm awake, you know, that gets annoying. You end up trying to listen to music or talk to someone, and you have to turn the darn thing off. They recommend that you keep it on 24/7, and in order to get any real use out of it, you have to have it on high. Otherwise, it just doesn't create the suction to get through the pre-filter and the other actual HEPA filter. The ionizer is supposed to help increase performance just a wee bit, but it's still just not enough, and it's rather disappointing. I think that if they had improved on the suction of the device, the actual vacuum capabilities to force air through the filters, it would do a lot better, because then you can keep it on the lower setting and still get a decent bit done with it. But regardless, there's also another problem people have. It's common. The red light comes on to indicate that you need to clean the filter, and some people can't get the darn thing to turn off. You're supposed to put a paper clip or something through the pinhole to reset. People seem to be having an issue with that. I haven't had to get to that point yet. So in conclusion, it's too loud, It doesn't create the suction needed to pull air through the filter efficiently. It doesn't filter much to begin with, and it's just not that great. Unless you need something to just do minimal work, try and prevent dust, okay, then I guess it'll work. But if you're looking for something to help you with serious allergies, or you have some place that really needs the air to get clean for some particular reason, this is not something you're going to want. You're going to want to buy something with a real HEPA filter. To do that, you're going to need something that gets replaced. You're trading convenience for actual productivity with the filter, or vice versa, depending on whether you get the washable ones or slash cleanable, or the ones that replace. So in the end, I would not recommend this one. It just doesn't do what it should do. So that's the review, guys. Hope it helped, and thanks for watching.